Hi, I'm Ari.
I'm Nick.
And I don't exist. Just like the host for the Oscars.
Is it a host? Are you making a joke about the host or is there no host?
Ow. What just happened? Hi, and welcome to the 32nd episode of Pwn. Today we're going to be talking about many things, namely the Oscars, Oscar bait, and maybe a couple other things, if we get to them, you know. The Oscar nominations came out.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah,
There's only 8 of them.
Did they come out at like 5 in the morning?
Yeah, I didn't know they do it so early.
Because Tristan posted on this story at like 5 a.m.
So we got 8 nominees, there's usually 9-ish.
Okay, so Roma's winning Best Foreign Language Film, right?
Yes. I mean, obviously.
Okay, I'm glad we
so,
agree on
Ari,
that.
do you know what they are? So
The
we
Roma
got
one, there's Vice.
The Roma one.
Yes.
There's
Roma
Black
one.
Panther.
Yes.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
There's another movie with black in it. Black Mirror.
No. Black Klansman.
Yes.
I forgot it was nominated. Stars Born, and I don't know.
The
And
favorite.
Green Book.
The favorite.
Green
Green
Book?
Book.
Green Book and Favorite. So we got 8 nominees, and they're a bit different than usual, which is kind of what leads into our topic. Some of them kind of stand out from the others as particularly not Oscar-y.
Right.
In particular, Black Panther and Bohemian Rhapsody.
And
then bordering Vice.
Yeah.
But mainly Vice because of the fact that it's not good, and that's no one thinks it's good, and I'm not quite sure why it was nominated.
Is Roma not surprising because it's a foreign language film?
Roma is not surprising because it's popular director
Right.
that people say should have won things in the past, and the fact that last year Mudbound wasn't nominated and everyone loved that, and that was a Netflix thing. They're like, why don't the Netflix things get in, huh? There are specific requirements that I can bring up later or just say now, just because why not?
Let me guess, minimum
2
45 minutes?
Yes, there is a length requirement, which I believe is like 45-50 minutes. It needs to have played for 2 weeks in a theater in LA and in New York. You have to say, hey, you need to put forward it as an option. They can't just decide without ever talking to you.
I think you explained it well when you told it to me, Wes, so why don't you explain
Of what an Oscar bait is?
Yes.
Just like a movie that, deliberately tries to appeal to, critics, sometimes at the behest of the quality of the film.
And
maybe.
obviously
I don't know. They're just kind of boring sometimes.
This term can be applied, of course, to any award, any festival. Things that are clearly going for awards.
Except for the Razzies.
I mean, I'm sure
What's the one that
something-
gives, the shit awards?
It is the Razzies.
Wait, minor film festivals isn't anything that's not the Oscars. Is it still called Oscar baiting?
They use, festival baiting.
Rolls off the tongue better than
award
Golden
baiting.
Globe bait.
Why do you think people go for the awards? What is the advantage of having an award?
Well, there are crazy stats. If you are nominated for an Oscar, isn't your average paycheck as an actor automatically
Generally, you can ask
went
for
up?
more. Yes.
If you're
generally
union, immediately just being nominated. If you're winning, it just shoots pretty far up.
Not to mention, people like putting Oscar-nominated actor person on the back.
Trailers.
I know for a fact when they put Happy Time on DVD or on Blu-ray, it's gonna say Melissa McCarthy, Oscar-nominated actress. That also comes back to the question of why is that such a big deal?
For the people making the films, maybe not for the end consumers exactly, but I mean it makes sense. If it's a direct bump, just the prestige, it's just a next level thing, and you want to just try to strive for that.
Probably also helps you make connections.
It definitely does.
Oh, yeah.
People that have done Oscar things are offered more stuff and are generally more open to other things, and studios will give directors with Oscar-nominated films more and more stuff.
Right.
So we're going to be seeing more films from the makers of Boss
The
Baby and Suicide Squad, both Oscar-nominated films. I got for you here a brief history of Oscar bait.
Oh, do tell!
Oscar bait is not at all a recent thing, right?
Oh, of
Oscar
course.
bait was coined back in 1948 in a review of the John Ford classic western, Fort Apache. In some review of this film, they said, hey, look, this is just Oscar bait. What even is this, right? It's probably fine. I've never seen it. I don't care. But, I mean,
End of story.
to you. Yeah.
And that can be said of all Oscar bait.
But so that was the first time that this term was kind of used, and people had implied it before, Gone with the Wind, suspiciously released right around the time period that they start considering these things. Oh, it won Best Picture. How did that happen? There's a court case that I'm going to mention here. United States v. Paramount Pictures was a
What?
whole thing. Yes, this actually happened.
What?
At some point, the U.S. was like, I don't know how we feel about studios owning their own theaters. Because a lot of old studios during the studio system owned their own theaters and would just say, hey, you get a package deal of you get 2 features, some shorts, and some commercials, throw that in a cinema, and then you go spend 5 hours at the movies watching 2 things and some like Batman serial from 1943, you know? And the US was like, I don't know about that because that means that independent filmmakers don't get anything, right?
Makes sense.
That means independent things start coming up, right?
Is this being animated?
I mean, it
It's
can
just
be.
an
I don't know how it
extremely boring
would be.
episode.
Yeah. Pick and
Shut up,
choose
I'm
lines.
learning, dude.
Yeah, he's into it.
Get a
Yeah.
Yeah,
text
I'm
this
enjoying
to
this
us.
lecture, dude.
I could have just, you know, shown
Texted
the
the
whole
entire phone to all the subscribers.
just a big group chat of all of our subscribers. But
Not a
so,
big group
All
chat.
5 of them.
so even though Oscar baiting existed, there was no like push for awards. You know, it's like, hey, let's get some awards because of the art value of it. And then we get a film called Deer Hunter, which I'm sure you've heard of.
Yeah, Killing of the Sacred Deer.
The 1978 Vietnam film Killing of a Sacred Deer, aka Jordan Peele's Get Out. It's a very dark, depressing film about the Vietnam War. And the test screening for it was
As opposed
awful.
to all the light-hearted, fun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Valiant, you know, a lighthearted war film. They were like, oh no, how do we market this depressing film? So some guy says, hey, you know what's gonna get people in? You smack on the poster a giant Academy Award logo. It says nominated for these things. So they release it in New York and Los Angeles, a single theater in each one for exactly 2 weeks at the end of December, and then they take it out. Right? Like, no more showings. Oscar nominations come out, it gets 9 nominations, wins Best Picture, all sorts of great stuff.
Wait, but it's a bad movie.
No, it's a really good movie.
But you said the test screenings were bad.
Well, the test screenings, because, like, you pull a random person off the street to watch this depressing film, you're like, oh, God, why did I watch this, you know?
What they did is they strategically released it so then they would get nominated.
Yeah, because
And
no one
then-
has to see it, as long as it's in the theaters
Right.
at
So they
that
knew
time,
that they knew
you
that
can get
critics
it.
would like it. They knew that the Oscar board would like it.
Yeah, because it's the
Okay.
type of thing that appeals.
But they knew that the audience wouldn't like it, so they waited to do a wide release until after the Oscars.
So you go for the gimmick of, oh, this is a really good movie. How do we convince people it's a good movie? We showcase all the Oscars we get, and then people will go see it,
Okay.
you know? So
then other
when
companies
that
got
happens,
caught
it's
on.
like, oh, that's a pretty good idea. So yes, they catch on. As we start to get blockbusters, we get Jaws, we get Star Wars, both of which were nominated for Best Picture.
Really?
One of them deservingly, the other is Star Wars.
Yes.
Like, it's fine, but it's not a Best Picture
Star Wars: A
at
New
all.
Hope. Ari, really? Is this going to be the hill that you die on?
What other movies were out there?
I don't know what else came out the year of Jaws. Rocky Horror came out that year. I doubt that was the Best Picture
It's
contender.
not.
Because we have Black Panther nominated, so that's
Things are
part of the
changing,
question.
but also-
that didn't feel
We'll
Oscar
get to this
bait,
because
though.
we'll get to this because like none of
Exactly.
these movies are really Oscar bait except for maybe Roma,
Roma maybe favorite, but also you have to
maybe Green Book.
you have to wonder whether Oscar bait is a negative term at all times, you know? Because Oscar baiting and being an Oscar movie, there's like a very, very thin, fuzzy line between those
Right,
things,
right.
you know?
I feel like if you release your movie in January, then
You're not
that-
trying.
yeah, like that's straight up Oscar bait.
So as independents are kind of facing up to these Jawses, these Star Warses, they say, what do? We go the Oscar route. They go the Deer Hunter route. Beginning in the 1980s, now November is the month of Oscars. That's why even now you get all of these great films at the end of the year. If Roma came out in theaters, it didn't. But if it did in summer, who would have seen it, you know?
Yeah.
Nestled in between Solo and Infinity War. Oh, let's go see Roma. November is now basically reserved for good movies. December is kind of that border of Christmas time blockbuster, but that's a whole different story. In 2009, UCLA did a study where they decided, hey, I wonder if we can decide mathematically how Oscar baity something is. What they did is they took genres, they took every movie that was eligible for Oscars from like 1987 to 2005-ish, right? So in that range, every of the 3,000 some odd films that were eligible. And they looked at the keywords, because IMDb, you can put in keywords. So like for a hot lead, keywords would be like detective, female villain, like little specific things about the plot that kind
Spoilers
of...
for a hot lead.
I guess, yeah. But all of these things,
Well,
all these
no
keywords
noise.
were plugged
And
in.
slow motion.
Yeah,
yeah.
With
And-
voiceover.
all of the genres.
I was
With
a
Morgan
racist.
Freeman,
A gay
racist.
They give a formula. It's this whole convoluted thing. I'm not going to explain it to you, but I wrote out what it is. They take theme, they take the films, they apply those things, how often it happens, and how often those things are nominated, right?
Okay.
And they found what genres are most common. I'm sure you can guess what the most common genres are. They're war, drama, history,
is drama
biography.
not like
Do-
too large of a genre?
Do comedy at once
Drama
ever win?
is like a really broad thing.
Right.
Has
Comedies have been nominated.
Has
I
they
don't,
ever-
I don't know how often they win.
Have they? Has one ever won?
I'm sure
Woody
plenty
Allen
have.
maybe has.
Annie Hall might have won Best Picture. That was 77. That's probably what beat Star Wars. There you go.
Boom.
What movie that is?
Don't
Uh,
fact check us.
Genres that very rarely win are horror, sci-fi,
Oh, it's right,
action, and
Oscars,
family.
right?
The reason I didn't include the keywords is because that's a whole IMDb dependent thing. Like if someone doesn't include it, it's not gonna factor in at all.
Yeah.
So like their example was that Gay Kiss never won a single thing, even though there are definitely Oscar movies with that as part of it, you
Yeah.
know. It's just no one ever bothered to put that keyword in.
Yeah.
I did attempt to find out how well a hot lead qualifies for the Oscars.
Okay.
It doesn't at all. None of the keywords line up. There are also minor things that apply.
College thing.
Studios that have independent release companies, like Fox has Fox Searchlight. They use these to release things. Those movies that are released via big companies through a smaller fake company tend to be nominated for stuff. And R-rated. Like 50% of every movie that's been nominated under the MPAA is R-rated.
That makes sense.
There's like 3G movies that have been nominated. You want to know what the most Oscar baity thing ever is?
What?
Mathematically speaking, there is a film called Come See the Paradise, starring a guy. It's about, so he works in Hollywood. He gets drafted. Meanwhile, his wife is Japanese and gets interned. Right? So you've got all these layers of stuff going on.
This is wild.
It's dramatic. It's about the Holocaust. It's about World War II. It's about segregation.
Is it good?
No, not at all. It didn't get a single nomination.
So
for
it's like the
anything.
definition of Oscar bait.
It is the definition of Oscar
And it
bait,
didn't
and
work.
it doesn't work. Which is my transition into what separates Oscar bait from Oscar. Because there are some things that are nominated that are good, and then there's some things that are nominated because they appeal.
Isn't
you
it
know?
just like if you
And there's
feel the better
there's-
parties for the critics or something like that?
I mean, I'm sure that's part of it. I mean, we don't know, but from what we do know,
We know. We're
and a
getting
bunch of it's
invited to all
PR
this
stuff
Yeah.
too, right?
the question is, when is Oscar bait good and when is it not good, right? Because I think we can agree Phantom Thread would be classified as Oscar bait, but it's also a good movie.
I didn't
So
see
what's the distinction?
Like, have you seen The Revenant?
Yes, that would be a good example of Oscar bait because it's here's this actor that we like, here's this director that we like, here's a historical thing, it's dramatic, there's
I think I am
racism
personally
elements.
less susceptible to I don't find it as annoying.
You're
as Oscar
immune.
bait.
Yeah, you don't find it as annoying then.
No, definitely not.
Whereas Wes, would you say that straight up is Oscar bait? How like what percentage of Oscar bait is going to be like annoying in your face?
I don't know. I just don't like boring movies, and to me, I find a lot of those kinds of movies boring. But I found a lot of movies boring, so.
That's true. That's true. Of the ones that we have this year, to bring it full circle, with all that in mind,
Have you plugged them into the formula or no?
I haven't just for the sake. I can do that here if I
Yeah,
end up
that'd be
doing that.
interesting if it doesn't take too long.
Some of them are really high critically, some of them are high only audience-wise, some of them are low for both. Vice, I don't know why it's nominated. I took a look at the amount of money that they made. Generally, Oscar things do not make a ton of money. This year we have
Really?
3 that are in the past 100 millions, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
They are
Star
Star
is
is Born,
Born.
which I think is the only one of these 3 that is like a real movie, like a real film that would normally get nominated.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
think
yeah.
Star is Born was nominated for greedy purposes. Bohemian Rhapsody,
I mean, but
82%
Ari said it was good.
audience.
Ari said it was good.
I really liked it, personally.
Well, you really liked it, right? Which is one thing.
And
right?
isn't it
And you're
extremely
allowed to
critically
like
acclaimed?
it. 62% critics, which isn't bad, but it's the second lowest of these. Well, actually,
Really?
it's the lowest of these.
Really?
Yeah. The other obvious example is Black Panther. 97% critic, making it the highest one on here. That's a whole other question. But 79% audience, which is lower than I thought it would be. It's one of the few billion-dollar Best Picture nominees.
Okay.
With that in mind, why? right?
Why what?
Why are these things that normally wouldn't be nominated suddenly being nominated? Like Black Panther, I get. Right?
I get Black
Do you
Panther.
understand?
I don't. This is a genuine question.
I get Black Panther because it's like genuinely a cultural phenomenon. I think
Yeah.
when it came out, like it was so big everywhere
Yeah.
around the world.
And it's not awful, right? I don't think any of us think it's bad.
No, it's way better than Infinity War.
It's better than most of the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
At the same time, even the best Marvel movies are still formulaic,
Right.
not the best acting. Why Black Panther?
I couldn't tell you. I don't think it deserves Best Picture at all.
Because it's black.
Well, then why? What about Black Klansman then? Why?
That's why it's nominated as well, dude.
Well, I'm just saying that one, which is more critically acclaimed. Why is it not?
Wait, which
if it's
one are we
being
talking about,
nominated
or both?
on its own merit, that's one thing. If it's being nominated because everyone loves it, it's a cultural thing. Is that enough to make a Best Picture?
I think
people love Star Wars. None of those are Best
I think
Pictures.
everyone loves it, partly as a result because it is like it's like the first like black superhero movie. It's a very prominent like movie, and it deals with like African culture and all that. So I think that makes it popular, and it also makes it good for critics. Good to nominate it. I think they wanted to appease with these nominees to a more popular audience, right? Because they almost had that award for like best popular movie, right? So I think they are
has its whole own controversy.
right, but I think like they are trying to appease to more popular movies. And so if they were gonna nominate one superhero movie, it would be Black Panther.
So is that a problem of like should the Academy Awards be taking viewers into account?
I don't think so because I think like you know your audience as the Academy Awards, and your audience is like a very certain type of like film goers, and so people who are watching the awards also should know what that audience is. I think that Oscars should just have consistent awards, and then if you like those movies, you like them. If you don't, then whatever.
I mean, the whole point of Oscars really is to be like, how much is the achievement like in terms of making films as an art in general, right? Not like regards to like the social like or popularity of that time or anything like that. Like Black Panther, it's not like overwhelming, and it doesn't make me think, oh my god, this is so cool creatively with the cinematography or the sound or anything. Like the reason like movies like Dunkirk or something that I didn't find that entertaining, but it's like a lot. I understand why it should be nominated is like the cinematography and a lot of the historical realism and the just like, and especially the sound, I think was extremely good in that one. I didn't. Yeah, I did. I just watched it.
I do think that Black Panther has a good script, and like the story definitely like doesn't like cultural appropriate or anything. So like it's like very good in terms of like if you were to like deal with like the first African superhero, it does a good job of doing that. But I think in general, like I don't know. To me, good movies don't always win Oscars, and Oscars are whack.
I want you to keep something in mind though. Remember what I said was one of the requirements for Best Picture is you have to submit it yourself, right? It's a question of, hey, do we go for it, or is it this is an easy one?
Did they not submit every movie?
I'm sure they do, but like they have to. But
like, you can try
because you
harder
see
with
Marvel
others.
movies get technical nominations all the time. But I don't know
Makes
if someone said, yeah, Ant-Man Wasp for Best Picture, you know? I don't know, and I don't know how you'd go about finding that. So yeah.
Like I think one of my favorite movies of the year was Deadpool 2, but I'd be almost like offended if it won like an Oscar or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it was amazing and I loved it and it was entertaining to watch, but I don't see superhero movies that
It's
that.
the separation of movies and film, you know? Film as an art form, movie as an entertainment form, and that bridging together of them and what crosses over. Deadpool is not art, right? And Vice is not entertainment, you know? So it's like...
I don't know if it's art either. It's it's fine. Like, it's not terrible, it's fine.
Yeah. So, that's all we have time for here today on Pwn.
Oh, that's
quite the
past
episode.
what we have time for, yeah.
Yeah, that was quite the episode, quite the wild time we had here today. I'd say that was pretty good. I'd say we got a lot out of that.
Was it good?
I think so.
Okay.
Right?
Sure.
Once I cut out the middle bit, yeah, it'll be great.
What middle bit?
You can see on the second channel the middle bit that doesn't exist. Alright, well, if you'd like the video
if I would like the video.
If you would like the video, email me. We'll give it to you.
If you like the video, well, you just watched it.
This video is sponsored by Pop Tropica. Don't forget to pop your Tropica safely at home.
Wes, comment.
It's there.
Oh,
There
okay.
it is. Pretty good.
Did you
Pretty
like
good?
pop it in?
Yeah, you didn't.
Because no one left.
Fuck, dude. If anything, just give us some F's in the chat, okay?
Yeah.
What are we talking about next time?
Whether this color is poop brown or your mom.
Got him.
Well, that's all we have time for. Let's do the thing, I guess.
Cheer up, bro!